Hello everybody, this is Solmaz and today we want to talk about error correction. As teachers, we are supposed to have correction for all our students and for their mistakes, slips and errors, unless we want to be labeled unprofessional or sometimes even lazy. So please bear in mind that you need to have correction in each and every year of your classes. Do not skip it at all, but you have to pay attention not to overdo this action. So, first of all, the question is, how can we understand what type of error correction is good for our class? Simply, you can ask your students. If you have a crowded class, for sure go with the majority of the answers and the majority of the method that they really like. And if it is not a very crowded class and you have like a couple of students or maybe a few, you can easily do and use that special method for different students. And you can choose, for example, if one person likes to be corrected later, you can have delayed correction, or if a person likes to have on-the-spot correction, you can go with that. Don't forget that it is very, very important as a teacher to know what activity you're running. Is this activity based and is it pushing accuracy of your students or the fluency? If it is using a structure in a dialogue and you want to practice that structure in their dialogue, it is more focused on accuracy. And if you want to have a debate in your class, or if you want to have a class discussion, so that is pushing fluency. It is very important to know what special technique is being used for each one of these activities. So now we are going to have a look at self, peer, and teacher correction. I asked this in our Instagram page, that which one is more effective in your idea? For sure, self-correction is the most effective. After that, it is easier for the students to understand something and to figure out a mistake that they have had using their friends' knowledge. It means that if their friend, they correct them and they give them the instructions, or I don't know, help them anyways, it is because they don't have the stress. The level of stress is much less than the time that a teacher is doing the correction. So that way they are going to understand it better. And the final source is the teacher correction. And the teacher correction, I don't say that it is not effective. It is very, very effective if it is done with kindness and in a good way and with a good manner of the teacher. For sure it is effective. Now let's see. Different types of correction are on-the-spot correction and delayed correction. Today and in this video I'm going to cover these two. A few techniques for on-the-spot correction. First of all, when you are focusing on the accuracy or fluency, all of these methods can be used. And as I said, according to the students' attitude, or let's say their character, you can use one of these techniques. One of the very, very good methods to have the on-the-spot correction is to use your fingers. Mostly when you want to do that, it is very, very easy for the students to know the word or their mistakes through using your fingers, which your pinky would go for the subject, verb, object, and the other parts of the sentence. So when you show them that, okay, this thing, what did you miss? They say, she angry. So you would say she angry, and they know that they're supposed to add something here. So using the fingers is one of the methods of the correction, especially in lower levels. The other method is simply using your gestures. For example, saying for past, or you can say to repeat. These gestures is really based on your own personal gestures and body language and facial expressions that you always use, your students are going to be adapted with that as well. The other thing is mouthing. It means the teacher mouth correct word, or let's say the correct sound. For example, if a student says under instead of under, when he or she says under, you're gonna say, and it means ah, and they are going to figure out after several times of doing this, so you can correct them and mouth the word, so they would see and they would imitate the same thing. And when you see that, okay, the student is not understanding this method, easily say the word. It's fine. And this method is a bit tricky because at some points it can increase your teacher talking time, and it can be a bit dangerous in the classes, and that is repeating both the correct form and the incorrect form. Some teachers, they repeat the incorrect form and they ask the question that if that was right. For example, are she here? And you would say, are she here? And they wouldn't understand that they're supposed to correct it. And some teachers, they say, is she here? Okay, both ways, you are repeating some words that the students have said. So pay attention. Do not use this too many times because it increases the amount of teacher talking time to your TTT, and it can be a bit difficult to control it when you're overdoing it, and it is you are taking your students' time. We have also delayed correction techniques, and today I'm going to talk about two of them. One of them is noting down the errors. This can be done in two ways. While I was passing CELTA, they told us that you can write them on the board. We always included one good sentence that they say to to praise them and to give them this chance to feel good with the good sentence they have and to be proud. Sometimes I did this. I wrote, especially in less crowded classes, I wrote some notes for each one of the students, specifically when they were having some, let's say, each one of them, they had 1 minute to talk. So I wrote down the mistakes on different slips of papers. I wrote the name of the student on the paper, and I would have given them later. I definitely gave some time for them to correct themselves, so they would understand this was my mistake, and I should correct it, and they would do it, and they appreciate it. The other method is to be a person who is like neutral, not focusing on the students. You can even face the board. However, it needs some mastery. If you don't do it in a professional way, some students may feel that you are ignorant or you're not paying enough attention. So write all the mistakes on the board. Don't forget to put a couple of correct sentences and beautiful sentences to give them this chance to feel good. The other method is to record. I did this when I was working in one institute. We had CCTV in the classes, and we had the chance to have and get a copy of our class, the video of the class, of course. I gave it to the students, and I asked them to watch this, to observe themselves. And in this way, they would find out what mistakes is so common between them, or what mistakes is being repetitive for one special student and one specific student or themselves. The other method is to record their voice. you're supposed to tell them, inform them ahead that you are doing such a thing, because not all the people appreciate this thing. So you need awareness, to give the awareness to the students, and then do such a thing for your students. And later, when they are going to listen to themselves, they are going to correct the mistakes. And never forget that you're supposed to keep this experience positive. It is very, very important not to overdo either delayed correction or the on the spot correction, because if you are doing it too much and too many times, the students are going to be demotivated, and they feel like, whatever word I say, I have to I'm making too many mistakes, and that is why they prefer not to express themselves easily. Thank you so much for watching and listening to us. Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram and also our YouTube page. See you and have a good day.